This is CBN NewsWatch.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch for Tuesday, December 22nd, 2020. I'm George Thomas. Today, lockdowns in the United Kingdom. What we know about a new wave of COVID. Trump's plans for the future. Why a second run for president could make things harder for Republicans. Snow in the forecast. Who is likely to have a white Christmas this year? And how small farms are creating new ways to keep up with demand. Those stories and much more today on NewsWatch. Overnight, Congress passed a $900 billion coronavirus relief package aimed to help businesses and people impacted by this global pandemic. All this comes as fears mount of a new version of COVID sweeping through the UK. CBN's Ben Kennedy reports.
A second COVID relief package is on its way to President Trump's desk. It provides $300 a week in federal unemployment benefits, a $600 direct payment to most Americans, and money for businesses hard hit by the pandemic.
I personally think it's long past due. $600 isn't going to help a lot of the average Americans just trying to get by.
Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin says the aid will be going out almost immediately.
People are going to see this money the beginning of next week.
The UK woke up to a new round of lockdowns after a variant of COVID caused chaos in Europe.
We took prompt and decisive action.
That action put the brakes on travel in and out of Britain. Canada, France, and Italy are now among 40 countries banning flights from the UK. The US is not among them. Health experts say mutations of any virus are expected.
I think scientifically, to date, there is no hard evidence that this virus is actually more transmissible.
Nearly 8 million doses of the coronavirus vaccine were distributed Monday. The CDC Advisory Committee said frontline healthcare workers and the most vulnerable are first in line to get it, then people over 75, followed by frontline essential workers, including police, firefighters, and teachers.
It's 95% effective, as much as 100% effective at preventing severe disease. And this is the way we end the pandemic, by getting 70 or 80% of the American people vaccinated.
President-elect Joe Biden received Pfizer's version of the vaccine Monday to encourage the public that it's safe to take. Ben Kennedy, CBN News.
Thank you, Ben. President Trump is openly talking about running for president in 2024. That plan could complicate the lives of other Republicans with their eyes on the White House. Senior Washington correspondent Tara Mergener shows us why it's becoming a conversation on both sides of the aisle.
Many experts agree Donald Trump is unique in the strength he would have as a one-term president. The question, will he use it to pursue the Oval Office again should efforts to claim the 2020 election fall short?
We will still win it. We will still win it.
Rallying support for two critical Georgia Senate races, President Trump insists his campaign can still prevail.
We've never lost an election.
Despite reassurances about ultimate victory, the president already hinting he's ready to run again. From an aggressive fundraising effort to remarks at a White House Christmas party.
He controls the loyalty of a very significant portion of the Republican electorate, particularly the Republican electorate that votes in primaries. And he obviously has the ability to finance a race.
And while the idea may delight the base for the moment, there's concern it will freeze the GOP field of potentially strong up-and-comers.
He sucks all of the oxygen out of the room for every other single candidate who was thinking about running. For example, Mike Pence, obviously, Nikki Haley, Tom Cotton was thinking about getting in, Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota, and there's a whole long list.
Instead of the usual activities like planning fundraisers, building support, and courting early voting states, GOP hopefuls would have little choice but to wait and watch for fear of turning away Trump's large and loyal base. Republican strategist Tom Rath says, though, there is an appetite within the party for new blood.
I think there's built up energy in the Republican Party to move generationally, but not just generationally, but also ideologically.
Still, under the U.S. Constitution, President Trump has the right to pursue the Oval Office again for a second term if he's sent packing after the first.
The degree to which they are intimidated and frightened by this president is unbelievable.
How much of the spotlight and influence a former President Trump can keep remains to be seen.
I think Democrats are going to see Donald Trump potentially running in 2024 as a sideshow. I really do. I mean, I think they're not going to pay much attention to it until they have to. And that could be in 2024.
And as Biden prepares to take the helm next month, Democrats insist they are too disciplined to be distracted.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, you know, they're walking into a really challenging situation with the economy, with this pandemic. I think they've got so much on their plate. The last thing that they're going to really be worrying about is what Trump is tweeting from, Mar-a-Lago.
There's talk Mr. Trump will try to steal some of Biden's Inauguration Day thunder by skipping the swearing in and announcing his bid on January 20th. Meanwhile, President Trump wouldn't be the first defeated president to win a second non-consecutive term. That honor belongs to the 22nd and 24th president of the United States, Grover Cleveland. In Washington, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
Thank you, Tara. Well, we are officially in winter, but Americans who live in the eastern United States will experience a couple of seasons in as many days toward the end of the week. That could eventually lead to some snow on Christmas Eve as well as Christmas Day. AccuWeather meteorologists have been monitoring these storms since late last Tuesday. Brittany Boyer is tracking the storm.
A storm that's moving coast to coast is going to cause major problems. We already have winter storm watches in effect for parts of North and South Dakota, also here into parts of Minnesota as well. Not only is it going to be snowy, the winds are going to be picking up, and there will be some areas that have blizzard conditions by the time we head into Wednesday. Snowfall amounts, it's not the biggest system that we're tracking. It's just the timing that we're tracking it. I know a lot of people are social distancing right now, but there's still going to be some people on the roads, those that are making last-minute deliveries ahead of the holiday. Snowfall totals in some locations about 1 to 2 inches around the Twin Cities, Marquette 2 to 4 inches, St. Cloud about 3 to 6 inches. Behind this, temperatures are going to be plummeting. AccuWeather real field temperatures in some areas are going to be well below zero, 30 to even 40 degrees below zero. So we're talking about dangerous cold, crashing temperatures. Minneapolis, for example, we start off around 35 around lunchtime on Wednesday. By 12 a.m. on Christmas Eve, temperatures are only in the single digits. So let's track this snowstorm. It's going to be moving its way across the northern plains on Wednesday to the south, where temperatures are a little bit milder. That's where we have to worry about heavy rain and also the threat for severe weather as well. Now watch future clouds and radar as we go into Christmas Eve here into the northeast. We start off mild. We're going to have a heavy soaking rain, but then as colder air moves in, we're going to have some snow on the back end here. So this is going to be a coast-to-coast storm, and you'll notice the impacts here. Christmas Eve across the East Coast, rain for some. One area that we have to watch out for rain for is where we had the last week's snowstorm. The footprint of the snow still showing you over a foot of snow on the ground in some areas, so there's going to be the flooding risk with about 1 to 3 inches of rain possible. And then that colder air is going to help bring some snow, and for some areas, western Pennsylvania, 3 to 6 inches possible. Back to you.
Thank you, Brittany. Your Christmas dinner looking very different for many Americans. Just ahead, how food banks are trying to help some 17 million people.
When I came to Regent University, it's like the world opened up. I felt like I needed to advance my career and go back to school. Regent was a perfect fit for me. The Regent professors are world class. You are equipped. The focus of the faculty is on each individual student, whether it's online or in person. You become a part of Regent's family. You carry with you not just the content and the knowledge, but the confidence to understand that we can be significant in the world.
Regent University. Follow your path. Nigerian Christians
in Iran are routinely arrested.
Happily, Christians continue to suffer.
In times of trial and affliction, you need to know the truth.
One of the fastest growing Christian populations in the world.
Join Wendy Griffith and George Thomas for Christian World News.
Young people are the ones who are open to the gospel.
Powerful stories of suffering and hope that affect all Christians. Watch Christian World News, Saturday at 5 p.m. Get Protect Your Sleep and discover how to improve the quality of your life. A free DVD or booklet from the Christian Broadcasting Network.
If you're not a great sleeper, you can do things to make yourself a great sleeper. If you're already a pretty good sleeper, you can enhance your sleep and be even better.
5 leading experts help remove the obstacles between you and restorative sleep.
When you don't get a restful night's sleep, you wake up with an accumulation of stress.
Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet today.
Everything you do better with a good night's sleep.
You'll discover how food affects your sleep, how to put insomnia to rest, explore effective remedies for sleep apnea, and much more in Protect Your Sleep. Wake up to your best life and get Protect Your Sleep today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to CBN.com to get your free DVD or booklet.
Welcome back to the broadcast. According to the nation's largest network of food banks, some 17 million people could face hunger as a result of the pandemic. As Charlene Aaron shows us, a growing number need help to put food on the table for the first time. Take a look.
Like essential grocery items and other needs have become the norm.
Thousands are receiving food from this Hampton, Virginia food bank, and it's a scene that's played out across the country as families are struggling to put food on their tables.
In order to provide additional help, the Virginia Peninsula Food Bank now hosts drive-through giveaways.
Normally we have smaller distributions throughout the month, but to supplement what our partner agencies are doing and also to supplement some of our normal food distributions, we're planning these 400 household distributions 2 or 3 times a week.
That includes delivering meals to senior living facilities. With the pandemic now in its 9th month, the demand continues to grow. Feeding America handed out 4.2 billion meals from March through October. The organization seeing a 60% average increase in food bank users during the pandemic. 4 in 10 are first-timers.
Of those that we have seen in these drive-through distributions, over 60% of them are new to the food bank. So these are people who have been laid off and never thought they'd be in a food line, and here they are.
The Salvation Army is also seeing a spike in requests for assistance.
We've seen some places where the demand has increased by 2, 3, 4 times. Sacramento area, we've seen an increased demand of maybe 400%.
Disabled vet Mike Taylor says he and his wife, who's furloughed from her job, are having a hard time.
I get paid once a month, and I have a house in Fox Hill. My wife is out of work because she works for Colonial Williamsburg. It is really rough out here.
Desperate and down to her last $3, Stephanie Moore waited in line several hours for the free groceries.
Oh, I appreciate it so much because I really did need some food.
While the pandemic has adversely affected major farm operations, smaller farms are adopting new ways to meet demand.
With stay-at-home orders in place, business is booming here at Full Quiver Farm in Suffolk, Virginia, as a growing number of customers request food deliveries to their homes.
Forced to shut down their stand at a local farmer's market, Scott and Allison Wilson found a way to keep selling their grass-fed beef, chicken, pork, and dairy products.
Our main ways of reaching customers have been farmers markets, some deliveries, and then coming to the farm. But once things started changing, we took something we were already doing, which is some deliveries 2 days a week. So that increased within a week to 4 days a week.
The all-natural products are delivered with social distancing in mind.
They leave a cooler there for us. They order online through our website and shopping cart. They pay online, and we actually go to their house, open their cooler and leave it there. They don't have to have any physical interaction, which makes everyone feel comfortable.
Meanwhile, as the impact of the deadly pandemic lingers, Joyner says the need to feed more people is also likely to last.
This is going to be a long-term issue and not just solved in the next month or two.
CBN's Operation Blessing is also mobilized to help meet the need.
As we looked at the impact that children being home from school and parents having hours cut or actually losing their jobs completely, we knew that we needed to get involved.
Produce, shelf-stable products, and non-perishable items are now available each week at the organization's distribution centers. Robin Ross says access to free groceries has lifted a weight off her shoulders, given the recent loss of her job.
That means at least one problem right now I don't have to worry about. I know me and my grandson will have food, and now I can concentrate more on trying to figure out how to do my room rent.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Still ahead, celebrating the biblical Christmas miracle, even as more Americans deny it. Just ahead, we speak with 3 biblical experts who say there's good reason to keep the faith.
Before you marry is a bad idea. Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire, Monday night at 9:30. The Global Lane takes you around the world, providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Watch The Global Lane, Thursday night at 9:30.
Christians everywhere celebrate the miracle of the virgin birth on Christmas Day, but in a growing number of secular societies, more Americans, for example, here in our own nation, deny such miracles. They also question the accuracy of the Bible. Paul Strand talked to 3 experts with evidence that believers have it right.
These days, many Christians, especially college-age students, find their faith in God and the Bible questioned, if not downright assaulted.
Sometimes they'll have a professor that's going to outright challenge why they believe what they believe and say, look, what you believe is actually a fairy tale.
Not so, according to 3 of the world's top biblical experts, who told CBN News there's good reason to have faith in your faith.
The faith is very, very defendable. That's why it's lasted for 2,000 years.
They point to how even respected non-believers wrote about Jesus.
16 total historians, apart from the scripture, everything else, that reference Christ. Almost everything about Christ we can find out without ever going to the New Testament.
The fact is, surviving manuscripts we have for almost any ancient writings were produced hundreds of years after those original writings. Jonathan Morrow tells students at the Impact 360 Institute there's more evidence that Jesus lived than Julius Caesar, yet no one doubts Caesar existed. Also, a rule is the closer in time the writer was to events, the more likely his account is accurate. Peter, John, and James lived with Jesus.
John said, what our eyes have seen, what our ears have heard, what our hands have handled, is what we're declaring on you. In other words, we were eyewitnesses. We were there.
And Morrow points out Paul and Luke interviewed them and knew many others who witnessed Jesus' life, death, and resurrection.
When you're doing history, you want early and you want eyewitnesses. And the gospel writers give you both. They investigated everything carefully. They have the ring of truth to them. They include embarrassing details.
Another understanding among scholars?
What the age does, they find the closer the manuscript to the original, less chance of error or miscopying.
But McDowell explains no original copies exist of the most well-respected and accepted ancient works.
When you look at Greek and Roman historians like Herodotus and Tacitus and Livy, those are hundreds of years later, 500, 600, 700 years after the fact.
Bible manuscripts, though, get closer to the original work than any other.
We've got manuscripts and fragments that show up within 35, 40 years of the time when they were written. Why does that matter? It means there's not enough time for error in mythology to corrupt the message of what's going on there.
Second, the more manuscripts you have, the easier it is to reconstruct the original.
Here, the surviving ancient copies or pieces of the Bible way outnumber all others.
66,420 some manuscripts and scrolls.
McDowell says second place is Homer's The Iliad with just 1,800.
We do trust Homer. How much more so should we trust the New Testament documents?
With so many more copies, no surprise there'd be occasional errors. And critics claim there are some 400,000 mistakes or variants in the Bible. Well,
99% of those 400,000 or so number evaporate. Simple spelling errors, word order.
Like H-O-N-O-R, H-O-N-O-U-R.
But none of those texts that are in question affect any central teaching of Christian doctrine or practice.
And Bach and Morrow explained to students many of the so-called contradictions in the Bible are just different ways of telling the same story.
And difference does not equal contradiction, it's just difference.
Doubters have a hard time believing that the Bibles we're reading today could accurately reflect the actual words written by the authors so many centuries ago. But McDowell explains how for Jewish scribes, copying books like Genesis and Exodus was holy work and strictly controlled.
4,000 regulations the scribe had to follow to guarantee accuracy.
Monks had tight rules for copying as well. Another reason to trust the Bible, archaeology and related research have time and again shown the Bible's true and Bible skeptics wrong.
Archaeology has probably cleared up already over half of all what appeared to be alleged discrepancies in the scriptures.
Skeptics would say there's no record of a Nazareth, so the New Testament can't be true, and no record of the Hittites, so the Old Testament can't be true. Well, archaeology and associated research shows both existed.
But now you can go to Harvard or anywhere else and study the Hittite language.
Finally, there's the proof of logic. The apostles kept saying to their opponents,
"You know what I'm talking about. You were there."
McDowell points out that's a crazy thing to do if you're making the whole thing up.
They appealed to the knowledge of their opponents for the facts of which they talk about. To me, that's one of the best tests of truth historically.
Bach asked what better proof the earliest disciples weren't making it all up than the fact they almost all were martyred for it.
You don't die knowingly for something that you know you made up.
Paul Strand, CBN News.
Thank you, Paul. Giving back at the gas pump. Straight ahead, how a church is serving the community and 400 cars.
Daddy?
Yeah, buddy.
How many nickels are in a dollar?
There are 20 nickels in a dollar.
How do birds fly? Does milk really make my bones stronger?
Yeah.
Daddy, when we die, will we go to heaven?
Do you have the answer to life's biggest question? Call the 700 Club. We'll help you find answers to the important questions life brings your way.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. David Perlmutter, board-certified neurologist and #1 New York Times bestselling author. Wouldn't it be great to boost your energy, eliminate brain fog, and even reverse brain disease? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you how, along with some of the world's most well-respected brain experts, In this DVD, Protect Your Brain.
Get Protect Your Brain, a free DVD only from the Christian Broadcasting Network, featuring experts on the cutting edge of neuroscience and brain health.
No matter how many times you've failed in the past, you really can do this.
In Protect Your Brain, you'll discover simple strategies to keep your brain young and healthy. Improve your memory. Discover the gut-brain connection. In Protect Your Brain, get your free copy at CBN.com or call 1-800-700-7000.
If you want to improve the quality of your life, get the DVD Protect Your Brain and get it today.
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he has, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
Welcome back. As COVID-19 cases rise across the globe, doctors are reminding us to take preventative measures. CBN Health reporter Lori Johnson spoke with Dr. Nicole Avina, who is a neuroscientist at Mount Sinai Health System.
As we start navigating into the winter season, preventing cold and flu becomes top priority. And of course, this year, preventing COVID-19 jumps to the top of the list. So let's talk about some of the best preventative measures. What would you say is the most important?
We're hearing a lot about different things that people can do to try to support their immune system. And I think that that's fabulous. We need to keep talking about ways that we can improve our health in general. And, you know, obviously there's the things that we're hearing a lot about, like making sure that we're washing our hands frequently, avoiding close contact with others, especially, you know, when we're in a situation where we're in a crowded place and maybe we're with strangers. And I think, you know, there's a lot that we can do in addition to those basics that we're hearing about with social distancing and hand washing. There's also things that we can do to really just take better care of yourself.
You can watch the full interview tonight on Healthy Living with Lori Johnson right here on the CBN News Channel at 9:30 Eastern. Hundreds of drivers got free gas as a Christmas gift from a church. The Greater Emmanuel Family Worship Center Church in Houston, Texas, sponsored the gas giveaway. People got $25 worth of gas at an Exxon station. The pastor and his wife told the local news they wanted to share their blessings and give hope to people around during these holidays.
It lets people know that there is hope. There are so many things and so many people that have been hurting, they've been wounded, and they've been going through so much. And some people have literally lost hope. We just want them to know today that there is hope and God is real.
There are some of us that are in a better position to be able to help those who are not. And so as a ministry, we felt that we wanted to be send a message of hope to let those who are struggling and trying and striving that there are some people who yet care.
Awesome, really awesome. That's awesome. All right, guys, that's it for this week's edition of CBN News Watch. Thank you so much for joining us. From all of us here, goodbye and God bless.